Okay, we're going to get our bolts and connectors together here in this video. I've brought up my part template. I'm going to do a file, save as, and we're going to call this one. I'm going to do the first one, which is the little small one. We've got some number 10 -24 UNC, and this is going to be part, I'm going to call it part, I think the set screws are part 18, and the length on these is going to be 3/8 of an inch. So it's I'm going to type in probably didn't spell that right, but anyway, we'll hit save. So we'll start with the head. If you have questions on the sizes, you can turn to page 660 in the appendix of your Modern Graphics Communications. Has all the dimensions for these bolts. So we're just going to, I'm not going to make these really fancy, but I'll, so we'll build this on this plane. Start right in the center. So this has, we're going to do the head first. The G dimension on number 10 is going to be 0.312 for diameter. We'll get the head taken care of first. We're going to extrude this in this direction, a distance of 3/4 of D. H equals D. So we're going to say 0.190 times 0.75. 0.143. This is a hex head piece, so we're going to draw a polygon by center, 6-sided, and it's going to have, from the flats, it has a J dimension of 5/32. So we'll start in this plane, hit the edge, find the center point. Now, what is 5/32 divided by 2? Not sure, so we'll do a 5-/32 .078, and we'll just pop that right in there. Now the depth of this is 3/4 of dimension D, so it's the same as the H dimension, or 0.190. So I'm going to take my extrude tool again. I'm going to make sure it says remove. I'm going to grab this edge, hit enter. We're going to pull that in, and it's going to be 0.190 times 0.75. So there we have our head cap. Has a little bit of a chamfer on this edge, and probably 0.015. Again, these are coming out of the box, so I'm not going to get too fancy with them. Ooh, why'd that go all the way through? That was not good. Did not want that to happen. All right. This should be 0.190, so I'm not sure why that got messed up, but we will see if we can fix that. Drop some live rolls. There we go. Try it again. Extrude. I think I extruded that 3/4 instead of the socket head. So it's 0.190 times 0.75. Oh, come on. Oh. Gotta have remove. 0.190 times 0.75. That looks better. So it goes in 3/4, so you'll have an Allen wrench. Now we'll put that little chamfer on the edge. And we'll put our threads on this side. So it's an external thread. We're actually going to extrude from this edge. I'll put a we'll put a point. Yeah, that's good right there. And we'll extrude that out. I didn't really pay much attention to the size because when we put the external threads, and this is going out 5/8 of an inch. Okay. And if we come up here, we have a thread option. I'm going to drop this down. This is a straight thread. The thread is a number 10-24 UNC. We're going to go to cylinder extent, meaning it's going to do the whole cylinder. And we're going to just left click, hit OK. We left click on this, and yes, we know it's going to change the diameter. So there's our threaded piece. I'm going to go ahead and put a little chamfer on this edge. Give it a little start. And we'll do a file save. So that's our part 18. Now I'm going to we'll just open up our part template again. And now we're going to do our 1/4 28 UNFs. And these, we've got quite a few lengths, so we're just going to do one, and then we can make our different lengths from that one. So I'm going to do a file, save as, and this one is going to be part number 10. And it's a, I'll say 25 for quarter, 28 UNF 5/8. So we'll get our head size on here first. We'll make them all facing the same direction. Our head size on a 1/4 socket head is 0.375. That one we're going to extrude. Hopefully I can get this one right. The distance on this is 0.25. Now we'll go to our polygon by center. Just find this edge, move it down to the, I'll just lock that in. Go to the center. And the hex head on this one is dimension J, which is 3/16. So we're going to type in 3/16. Oops, divided by 2, sorry. There we go. On the fly. And now we're going to extrude this using a minus. Use this chain, enter. We're going to pull that in a distance of 3/4 of D, which was a quarter. So we're going to type in 0.25 times 0.75. Yay, didn't go all the way through. We'll put our little fillet on the edge of that. Again, not paying much attention to the actual details, because again, you're not going to probably make these, you're going to get them out of a box, but I want to have them ready. So now we'll put our cylinder on the end. Again, we'll just do a 1/4 inch, do a 0.25 diameter. We'll extrude that out. Again, this one is 5/8 of an inch, 5/8. And we'll put our threads on there. This is a 1/4 28 UNF. Put it the full length of the threads, no offset, just say OK. I didn't hit something right here, hold on. Thread to cylinder extent, sorry. 1/4 28 UNF, cylinder extent, OK. There we go. So there's our 5/8 thread. So we'll do a file, save. We should also go in and check our, I'll have to do this on the other one, our file properties. I know this is steel, but our summary, this should be our, see if I can type this, 1/4 28 UNF 5/8 long. And this is project, we said this was going to be number 10. We'll say OK. Now we can do a file save. We'll switch our windows to our part 18 and do the same thing. I just want to make sure we get this file properties correct. Come on. And this is a 1028 UNC. And that is 5 long. And this was project number 18. Just say OK. And do a file save. We can do a file close on that one because we only have that one set screw. Now, we did a file save on this one. Now let's do a file save as. And this time we're going to do a part 25. And this one is 1 1/4. Hit save. What we should be able to do is just select this arrow, and type in 1.25. It's going to lengthen it out. Do a file properties, and we'll go to our summary, and we'll just type in 1 1/4 inch. Hit OK. I found some instances where we're going to need a 3/4 inch. We're actually going to call that one part 26. So we'll do a file save. Then we'll do a file save as, and this one will be part 26. And instead of 1 1/4, this one will be 3/4. And we'll change the length of this to 0.75. Once you have it set up, it's really really easy, so I should have a little, whoops, chamfer on the end of that. And we'll do a file. Oops, I gotta do my file properties first. And this one was, just type in 3/4, and this, that should do it. Now we can do a file save. And one more that I think we can use, we'll call this one 27, is a 3/8 long screw. This is just for one of the, on the valve cam, we want a short screw to put in there, so I'm going to hit save at 3/8. Just going to click this, type in 0.375, that little stubby screw, and we'll do a file properties, summary, just change this to an 8, hit OK, do a file save. I think I want to open up my 5/8. Part 25. Yeah, it was this one. Didn't put a chamfer on the end of that. So now we have a quarter 28 UNF at 1.25, 0.75, 5/8, and 0.375, and we also have that number 10 set screw, the smaller one, at 5/8 of an inch, and also or 3/8 of an inch. And I think that should do us. We can always go back and change some of those if we need to later on. As a matter of fact, well, I don't really know if we need it. Let's open up that set screw again. What was that, part 18? That was 5/8. Let's just do a file, save as, and I want to save this as part 28. And this will be 5/8, just in case we need a longer one. Hit save, and I'll just, oh, that is 5/8. I'll just save that one. Let me open up that 18 again. Yeah, I must have screwed up this one. This should actually be 3/8 of an inch. So it's 0.375. Now we got a little stubby one. File, save. Make sure I got my summary right on that one. Yeah, should be 3. Yep. So we should be able to find them anytime we need to. So now we've actually got like 6 different screw sizes that we can use as part of our assembly in our model, and that should take care of our our fasteners, I believe.